You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the October 2nd, 2024 meeting of the Long Beach Budget and Finance Committee. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Trista, can you hear me? It's
Yes, I can hear you. Thanks. I had to get unmuted quick.
so, it hopefully will be a quicker meeting. The main things I wanted to discuss were the budget was approved, the first reading of the budget at the last council meeting, and at the October meeting, the final budget should be approved. Tristan and I are working on it. We cut it down a little bit, just today, to get the general fund in even better shape. So I'll go through the agenda real quick and then we'll get started. But, so monthly financial statements. With the timing of this meeting, we could have stood to push it back, but we kept it with the state. Since we had to do it in time, and Laurel Bankrupt is correct as of today, no issues. So financials will go out next couple of days before that council meeting. I don't anticipate anything big that has changed, since our last looking at those.
How is insurance? Insurance is still.
I was just gonna switch gears. We do not have those numbers yet. Martha, I'm hoping, we did get the garbage contract. I would like to talk to Joy and Mark just about how we're going to relay any increases to residents. I put together a little spreadsheet just today again, of our kind of looking at any admin costs associated with the billing, preparing the bills, the mailing, the answering questions. So any employee's time related to garbage, maintaining the accounts, again, also Mark and I overseeing our employees will be bankrupt each month, and our rent, we'll pay by our ordinators at one place. So we covered monthly financial statement, 35 minutes a day. The capital asset inventory reporting, we have not made any progress. Mark, the plans for Mark, Tristan and I to meet about that. Capital plan update, I would like to add the purchasing of an HVAC truck to the garbage and leaf fund in 2026, which Tom thinks is approximately $50,000. We currently have the truck, another F-550 plow truck scheduled on the capital plan in 26 that Tristan and I had talked about, and maybe it's not reasonable to put the whole truck out of the garbage fund again, maybe do a portion of it. So I think we should have enough funds, we will have enough funds to cover an HVAC purchase. We have 3 HVACs that he uses in the leaf pickup. I think I've got the leaf pickup costs, again, on the spreadsheet when I get to it, about the garbage. I did an assessment of the leaf pickup as well. I can explain that when I get to it, but that's my only real change right now in the capital plan. Next on the agenda is the budget. So I'll pass down the changes we made with Trista's, if you want to shine it on. You could want to run. So we had worked, the general fund and the water fund, we were looking at, just because trying with the goal of passing a more balanced budget. How it currently stands, Trista's comfortable that it would get approved. The general fund is still over, you see that 66,000 number, 546. But 50 of that is general admin as kind of a pillow cushion in case we needed those funds. So we actually worked on some salary changes, which also affected that, and some other benefits, improving, getting those more accurate. I'll send out that detail today probably, or actually I'll send you one, I can just want to send those, but the point is, if you were to hear this to the last, one from the September meeting, it looks better now. I think we'll still look at some more stuff. Again, the insurance is going to affect it. Hopefully insurance doesn't come in higher than the 12% that we budgeted. If we're lucky, it'll, Mark's getting other quotes, hopefully it'll come in less under it, and if we can know that in the next week and a half, we'll adjust the insurance, but, what other big numbers, Tristan, I'm forgetting them. Or larger improvement budget.
It was just a few salary places, putting them more in line with where they're supposed to be, where we had originally had a little bit of extra money while conversations were happening. There were just four lines really that happened in the general fund, as well as then the town admin line, which you already commented on.
So. Water, we were looking at, so that council understands, the water fund, is also, it looks like we dip into some cash to support the budget that we have prepared. But a good amount of those line items in there are kind of what if, an emergency, something breaks, we need to rent a truck. Items such as that, and that happens to be a fund where we hope to not utilize all the budget items that we have in potentially the last year or two. Yeah, we need those budgeted lines, just in case. We improved that by a couple of $1,000 as well, which is good. Again, Trista said that this is all, we got healthy fund balances to support this budget, so. Any questions on the budget for now? Again, some more people will be sent out prior to the council meeting as part of.
No, thank you for all your continued work on it, to keep just kind of checking and rechecking, all three of you, and just making sure that you can trim where you can, but making sure that there's still money if you need it, and so, thank you.
Yeah, one question.
Yeah.
On that stormwater fund, that balance at 8/31 is shown as 211, and then you have 26 at year end. I'm assuming there's a big slice of that went out for the step 18, possibly.
Correct.
Okay.
Stormwater is tight, again, if we had more to contribute towards CCMG next year, that would have been nice. But it's gotten a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned. And so if that's all we got at the end of the year at 26, we may have to think a little stronger about what we wind up doing for when we schedule that, the big project, or, the project we try to get into for next year.
Well, that one's accounted for in the capital plan, but the following year is when we probably have to assess if we're gonna start the Lakeshore Drive engineering
Right.
and or phase one. I think we can start the engineering for sure, whether we can do the engineering next year and start paving in 26, then I have a big question.
Right, but what I'm looking at is if you only have 26 at year end of 24, and we're trying to do the 1.3 or whatever it was project, we were counting on almost $500,000 of stormwater would be in there. We don't have to use stormwater funds, but I thought we had.
That's what I think we've got. Also, I think that's what we have.
I'm pretty sure I.
Right. So,
Stormwater, we should have projects. Those plans, but we only have 25% of it. It's not, they have no report, but 26 won't get the job.
no, we're only using 70,000 in 25 for our stormwater towards that project.
Okay.
So. Then the restricted are 225, stormwater 70. Then. I think the rest is just from other various, you know, if you have a balanced capital plan, with our fund balances. For the 25, it's in a positive or surplus of $8,500. So we're pretty much using everything, but not as much as coming from stormwater as we need. Yeah, so it'll come from CPD, and beach restricted, 70 from storm. Trista, can you think of any I'm missing?
Can I think of anything what?
So on the capital plan towards the CCMG next year, we're using 200 for MVH, 25,000 MVH restricted, 70,000 stormwater. Riverboat has 116 capital being used, CCD has 350, CDIT has 280, all being used for cattle. I don't know exactly what.
Okay, no, you got it fine, I understand that. I thought that the stormwater contribution was gonna be something on the order of 6-figure contribution, but it sounds like, as long as you guys figure it out.
Right, so
It doesn't have to come from stormwater, that is the luxury of having stormwater. It's not.
from stormwater this year, we have spent, or are going to spend, let's see, 300. Yeah, 566,000. So that's, our balance, our projected balance. Yeah, it's projected at 26,000.
So that bill ended up shooting a little higher than we first anticipated when we were discussing the stormwater contribution for this year. Originally, the figure was discussed at 350 or 400, and it's pushed up now to the 566. So that reduces the balance that we'd have available going into next year. Next year, at the end of the year, if we spend the 70 in capital that we have budgeted, we would still projected on the end of the year at 120 cash. So there is potentially another 100,000 available that you could contribute from stormwater toward that, but we didn't want to leave the cash balance at only $20,000. So some of that we're going to have to just kind of finesse as we go. And also in part, as we see the timing of the bills coming in, the balances that we're discussing here are all year end after all the revenues collected. So we do need to get a couple months into the year to collect some stormwater revenue to be able to spend more than, more than we have budgeted.
And I think those change orders on 17 contributed, Us, bills, the engineering.
But I think we can, yes, I understand all that, and I understand what you're saying, Krista, but another option, I think, that $15 nominal stormwater fee was something that was took up arbitrarily when we first initiated the stormwater fund. You've got the potential, if you ever wanted to, the council would, in the future, to jump that up a little bit, potentially. If the Lakeshore Drive project comes to fruition, 2 years from now, you could always jump that up $5 or something to get yourself another 100,000. So there's ways to make, a little more involved with some revenue. I believe, interested that's possible, then it can't be.
Yes, it's just simply a matter of amending the ordinance to reflect the increased fee. And if there's projects to support that expense total, it's not a problem. It's just a matter for the council to consider, in total with any other fees that are being charged, and just make sure that we balance all of that out, and then they make the decision that's best for all the residents.
And then I guess my question would be with the CPND emails for next year, being maybe 25 of the almost 2 million of the 1.75 project would have upper stormwater based on what qualifies. And is that going to be the case for, are we always going to be doing storm water drainage stuff with CPNG or not necessarily?
The project that we've got in the works right now is 1.2. But essentially, we always, in that project, which has been in the can, so to speak, or even the engineering was done, the bidding documents already like 3 years ago. So originally, that 500,000 of stormwater work that's included in that 1 whatever it is. If you take 25% of that, you're talking about $125,000 that would have come to support that 25% of that overall project the town had to come up with. So you don't have enough stormwater funds. You could take it from other places, which it sounds like what you're describing you have done to support the capital plan, which is fine. In the future, the percentage or the portion of a bigger project, something like Lakeshore Drive, will include some stormwater. There are other times in the years where we've had paving projects that had zero stormwater. It just depends on what they're trying to do. Lakeshore Drive will likely have a pretty good sized piece of stormwater, and how many phases we have to have in order to do that. We may have a project in the beginning that had very little stormwater, depending on if we start on the west or the east end, or we might have a project with a bunch of stormwater if we decide to do some bigger stuff. So that'll fluctuate.
Perfect, thanks. Okay, any other questions on any of that? All right, so this is not on the agenda, but just the garbage fund and their contract again, the council tentatively approved rate increases for the next 3 years, contingent on a contract from the Republic, which we actually just received there to the police suite, for the police suite that council and us and our town attorney will review. So we haven't actually had a rate increase for some time, a good amount of years. Within the rate that Republic is going to charge us, we are going to increase it slightly for the town's employees. Like I said, their contribution towards the bills and upkeep of accounts. The review of, for example, the capital plan related to garbage and how we're gonna use the funds in there. Trista already said we're not gonna make money on this account, but do we also increase that rates, some nominal amount of cents towards new capital projects over, we're gonna need that new lead back, and I need to get from Tom how often So we can kind of get that built in the capital plan and how that equipment that the town needs yearly now. So based on, this is a very messy sheet that just, shows, you don't understand how that, because I did it today, but our new rates, so currently we're charging residents $16.06. The later one is increase 16.27, so that's 2025. 2026 is gonna be $16.92. 2027 will be $17.60. So that's the rate increase from Republic to collect each of our trash. So, including our salaries, which, and also 15 cents per household towards some capital. You can see how the column that includes the 15 cents right on the garbage at the top left. And you can see that the next column, $17.16 where it starts, that is simply the Republic cost plus some town overhead costs. So this is my first stab at just trying to advise council on passing an ordinance in November, or December for these rate increases. Council, I would like to get this information to them in the next few days so that they can, when they go to approve that contract with these Republic rate increases. So they have an idea of the charge, and then they need to distribute that information to them.
Is there an ordinance on that one? Is that what we were talking about, Trista?
So the way, there was an ordinance from 2005 and then early 2006 that had a unit charge cap. Whatever, I think it was. Whatever.
That's okay. Yeah.
Here, actually, very good. Okay, so the max that we could ever charge under that ordinance is $16.25 per month. We were, what's currently on residence bills is $60.06. So we're gonna have to increase, to cover in the first year, we would have to increase to at least $16.27, which is what we're calling square units. We're gonna increase it slightly above that for those various reasons. So, Tristan's advice, and I'm sure Chris will be saying that instead of having that unit charge cap of say $18 for the next 3 years, I think our ordinance would just state that here's the Republic charge for the year, here's the town's increase for the year, for 25, I'd say by 20, heading into the end of 27 and into 28, we would just reassess what our contract will be if it's an extension. And we would just have to amend the ordinance probably to extend that contract. So, any questions on that? We are collecting $10 per month per resident for leaf collection. This, one of you had a sheet where I think we're collecting $9.24 about, or sorry, we're spending $9.24 roughly based on the costs of our spring and fall leaf pickup. Putting a little bit in for the purchase of the HVAC. And then the one-time removal of the leaves from our maintenance area each year. So all of those costs combined puts us roughly at $9.24, we collect $10. So, do we want to keep it at, and we also have the diesel cost that is weekly that I put in here. That the town pays, almost $9,000 for 7 weeks for the cost to run the HVAC. So, council could decide is there a reason that we, towards the HVAC purchases, for example, that we want to increase from the $10? You know, the whole dollar, so let's say increase to $10.25 instead of the $10, or keep it at $10. So I need a little more assessing of it all, but that's the preliminary, the council to assess while approving this contract at the October meeting.
And if I recall correctly, the chief mentioned a couple, or it was another town that was looking at somebody pick up, and it was
There's a couple of towns that.
much higher, so.
Yes, that too.
So this is what we have to do.
Well, and there's also, towns that were not charging residents properly, that, so they had large jumps to what
Yeah.
their bills were. Our ordinance actually says that this is supposed to be assessed on a yearly basis, and the rates are supposed to be adjusted yearly. We've been okay, because we've stayed within that cap of the unit charge, but, and now with this project this year, we will have the rate established for the next 3 years. But hopefully going forward, we can just, you know, assess it. Again, the public has not increased our rates in quite a few years. So I think it'd be council is made aware of all of that within their decision making. So anything to add or questions? Okay. Towards the end of the year again, we're gonna have to look at individual expense lines and potentially make some transfers. You know, there's a couple that we know about that maybe weren't budgeted as well, or they're just cost went up, like computer expenses with our IT, for example, you know. Some of the public safety expenses are new, where we have to, you know, do some budget, or there's one area where we're gonna appropriate towards some capital in one of the funds, about $20,000 every week, which I'll explain in the council meeting before it, but, what was my point in saying that we look towards that rainy day fund transfer towards the end of the year? That's, I'm just leaving that on our agenda. I do not have an update on the Lakeshore Drive, legal expense, possible legal expenses yet. So once I do, I will give that update. I think our big item is just getting that budget approved. Also, I'll give the news here that the audit is looming. So, I received an email from the state board of accounts. We are working towards getting some forms, questionnaires back to them. And Tristan and I anticipate, it could be definitely the fourth quarter that it was started, and it's going to cover Jan 1 of 20 through December 31st of 23. So council will be made aware of that. We'll be very busy, so. Anything else, anybody? I guess we, maybe we'll adjourn, so could I ask for a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? We will conclude in that.